What's up, everybody? It's me again. And it's time to lean in, bitch. I'm here with Jamie to talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's been a week.
Welcome back.
I know,
Welcome
I
back.
ignored everybody in the chat. I had some time with friends and time with
Oh, we're
Faye.
not friends?
Yes, y'all are friends, but I
We're
was
not
with
friends.
my friends. I'm not really a person to be in the phone when I'm like on vacation. Like I like to enjoy
Mhm.
the moment.
Your
Um,
IG says different because you posted the entire week you were out of town.
you know what I do?
So you were on the phone.
I post to let everyone stay up to date what's going on in my life, and then I move on with what's going on in the moment.
Okay.
So it's a balance. You
All
should
right.
try that.
All right.
But welcome back, Jamie, yourself. It's been a week. It's the longest I've gone without seeing you on camera in a long time since
I
we did.
know. I
So
know.
how you doing?
You miss me. You can say it. You're obsessed with me. You miss me. Like a big hole in your life was
Mhm.
unfulfilled, in addition to the big hole you already have.
I miss
So
you
it's
like
good to
Erika
see
misses
you.
those victims. That's allegedly
Or
is.
what? Or what?
I see we have people here. I see JP Rob. I see Miradonis, Ayurveda Bay. And everyone here, welcome back. Like I said, it's been a while, really been a week, but that's a while. I'm used to seeing y'all. I
It's
actually
a
missed
while.
y'all when I was, on my vacation. It felt like I should have been doing something, but I was like, let me take this break. But
You need it.
episode 3 or part 3 of the reunion, Beverly Hills. Jamie, what did you think? Because the first part was really good. The second part was kind of meh, in my opinion. I think we talked about it last week, but this one was kind of it was okay. It got better towards the end, in my opinion. But what do you think?
And I think, I mean, we had talked about this whenever they announced it was going to be a four-part reunion, that it was going to be so heavily featured on Erika Jane that obviously we needed a supersized reunion, but then how do you fit in the rest of the women?
Yeah,
And a lot of it, unfortunately, a lot of today felt like filler, which
yeah,
sucks because I wish they would have saved some of the Erika stuff for later and devoted
yeah.
maybe the first two episodes to some of the other ladies, because their segments today almost felt like Andy's like, oh shit, we haven't talked about Crystal. We need to roll some footage on Crystal. So I enjoyed it, but it did kind of like, all right.
But they kind of like went past. So a lot of this one, I felt like there should have been a part where they talked a lot about Crystal and Sutton. I know they got to
Yeah.
a better place, but they still should have kind of dove into it a little bit more. They did mention a little bit about Kathy and Kyle, which we talked about last week too. But in this one, they did talk about Crystal, her acceptance into the group. It talked about the Asian hate she got from the fans and just how she was so welcomed into the group. And the first thing I want to talk about is the whole thing about Sutton not seeing color. And there was a question that was asked from a fan, basically saying that basically Sutton said it, but Kathy also said it. But
Mm-hmm.
she tried to say that well, they tried to say that it was in a different context, and honestly,
Yeah.
no. The statement is the same. You say I don't see
Yeah.
color. It don't matter if you was drinking. It don't matter if you was at this event versus this event. You still said it, and it was. I'm glad they highlighted that because honestly, I like Kathy, but they have let Kathy get over the lot this season.
Yeah.
From the stuff.
Well, and to be honest, Sutton never even said she doesn't see color. Crystal is the one who inferred that. Crystal said, "Tell me you're the
No, she
woman who
did. She
doesn't
did.
see color."
She did.
Cut.
When she
Wait,
was
did she?
crying,
Let
she
me
was
rewind
like,
it.
I don't, and she cried.
Well, she said it afterwards.
Yeah,
After Crystal said, "Tell me you're the woman who doesn't see color," then Sutton responded, "I don't. I genuinely don't." She didn't bring it up
yeah. Of course, of
at
course, of
first,
course.
unlike Kathy. What I thought was interesting about that was Andy didn't ask Garcelle that question when Kathy was saying that to Garcelle during that.
Hmm.
Andy didn't expound on it. He didn't ask Garcelle what her thought process was on when a woman, a privileged woman, tells you that they don't see color. He seemed to gloss over that, and I mean, it was a stark contrast also as well to he seemed to really brush past the conversation about race. He seemed to take any or eschew any kind of ownership on what his brand does to
Hmm.
contribute to that. We saw what
Hmm.
happened with Dallas. We saw what happened in New York City.
Right.
He didn't ask some of the other ladies if they're getting feedback on these race conversations.
Of
He
course.
didn't ask Sutton to explain a little bit more of, hey, in that moment, how did you guys get to a good place? You seem to
Yeah.
be great now, but it was a bumpy road. What did that do?
Yeah.
And I mean, to go around the room and say, oh, well, Crystal felt so welcome. That's great. But completely ignoring the fact that Garcelle's been saying for an entire season that she does not feel welcome just felt really disingenuous.
Yeah.
Like there was no expounding on the two completely different experiences that two minority women have had on the show. And that was just really curious to me. Not that any of that is Crystal's fault, but it was very apparent that Andy was handling the two situations in a completely different manner.
I completely agree. I do. I mean, but Andy, that's just kind of what he's known for doing. It's unfortunate. This I feel like this franchise should have been the perfect franchise to set an example. Because race really was true. I mean, New York too. Let's not be be fake with it. But I will say that, like we said last week, the New York ladies, they probably care a lot less about looking racist than the women. They don't care. I mean,
these women have shit in bathroom floors and pissed on people's driveways. They do not care about
Ramona
what they
does
look
not
like.
care. So, but as far as in Beverly Hills, in California, like we're a very liberal state. You don't want to be, especially no matter how much money you get, you don't want to be painted with that. So I agree, they could have did more. And then as far as like I saw comments saying that Garcelle was on mute and stuff like that. Garcelle should have said more. I mean, we've said 1,000 times, Garcelle should have said this. She should have said more like, well, what about the acceptance for me? Because Erika was really like, oh, yeah, when I met Crystal, she was just so cool. I loved her. And I'm just like, what did you love about her? Because Crystal didn't give much. I mean, she gave a lot to Sutton. But as far as the group, she was just sitting in scenes like this.
Like she is at the reunion.
Like it was, she wasn't giving nothing. So I don't know what y'all really liked about her. But it just shows that these girls, they pick and choose, and they are also there are some bullies. And I mean,
it was a completely. Somebody mentioned in the comments about Kathy's wealth and money, and I think that in and of itself should have been a conversation on how money and privilege and success does not spare you from racism. Crystal's husband is Rhobh Minkoff, a critically lauded, well-known Hollywood director, and she's still getting vile racism spewed at her every day. Garcelle has been in the industry for 30 plus years as a model and actress, a very well-known actress. She has the same amount of money as some of these ladies, and yet she's still looked at as the black girl of a cast. Like she's some person that was casted at the last possible minute, and not Garcelle, this woman who's been in the industry for 30 years, who's the only one, honestly, at this point, working in an actual Hollywood job right now with her stuff on The View. Or excuse me, on the
get it right.
The talk. Sorry, the real. Oh my god, the real. Oh my god.
You sounded like Lisa Rinna talking about that job over there, that talk show.
No,
the real.
Stop. I'm tired. I've been having an imaginary vacation. I just got back from an imaginary vacation. But it's just all of these things. It's like you said, you had an opportunity to make this a teachable moment in the biggest franchise that's on right now, Beverly Hills. They could have been the one leading the pack and really having these combos. And instead it was like nothing. Yeah. And Garcelle, unfortunately, doesn't have the privilege to be able to show her entire ass on TV and not think about the ramifications of what the paychecks that are going to feed her kids are going to come from people who are turned off by how she responds to these ladies. Other ladies can do it, not Garcelle.
But I'm wondering after the reunion, how does Erika look at Crystal now? Because like Ayurveda Bay says now, yet Erika came at Crystal tonight because Crystal was challenging Erika a lot tonight. They could have been bigger moments, but it's like Erika would kind of look at her and be like, "Oh, girl," but go on. Erika was being fired at in many ways tonight. And I think she just looked tonight even worse than she's looked, because we know she's been lying, but when they got to talking about the victims and the fact that we're going to talk about it obviously, but the fact that Andy was like, you have not said anything about the victims.
Yeah.
It's like, he is
like your boss is sitting there being like, girl, I'm telling you.
The whole episode, did you notice how she kept milking how she had to work? She had to work, like she needed to work because, I know Andy's like, girl, I pay you.
Girl, people work. I don't
Everybody
know what to
work. Okay.
Everybody got to work, bitch. Damn, you're not working. You ain't booking no gay pride festivals. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It was she definitely. I think, and I think this is something that has always turned me off a little bit about Erika. As much as I love her, like when she came on, how she can be kind of cold and aloof, and it's giving very much. She reminds me of kind of those characters like Betty Davis and Joan Crawford that are kind of bitchy, but they're fabulous, and so automatically gays flock to them. But that's also one of her downfalls because she comes across very entitled and very haughty. Like, how dare you question me on stuff that I told you? Who are you? And even her response to, "Oh, I loved Crystal. I enjoyed Crystal." Like, girl, who are you in this group? Who cares if you enjoyed Crystal and what your opinion is of her? Like, really, who cares? It's just, she's been clicking down a lot, and it's a lot of what she's doing is just a big turnoff, a huge turnoff. And it sucks because I really did like her. And I don't think she had anything to do with the embezzlement, but it's like, girl, my fucking God. You're digging your heels in this hole that you've dug for yourself, and you're not listening when people around you are trying to save your ass.
Crystal's to me biggest moment was the ugly leather pants. I'm glad they brought it up. You notice that when they asked about the pants, that Kathy, Garcelle, and Sutton still didn't raise their hand to like the pants. I was like, okay, well, she still stands in it. But
Crystal, but then I like that Sutton said, "I wear a lot of stuff that people hate, so it's whatever."
I mean, so she has come a long way. It be labeled out, and it be very expensive.
And it's ugly.
It's still ugly.
It's ugly.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. So then the bigger segment of the night was really towards the second half, because I mean there was in between stuff. There was some stuff with Lisa and the dresses, and if y'all want to talk about that, we can. I'm gonna move.
Call in.
Yeah, when you call in.
Talk about what we call in.
The bigger subject was, of course, how Sutton and the girls were questioning Erika. And, basically she's like, she's not, the thing is with Erika, she talks a mad game because she's like, I'm keeping score. And it's like, well, who? And she's like, oh, don't worry about it, I'm keeping score. And it's like, well, girl, you really ain't that bad. The person that you're
at all
trying to be, because it's like, just, this is the reunion. Go ahead and say how you feel. Go ahead and call Kyle and them out. And she did call them out. She said she didn't like what the husbands were saying, but she didn't really give it to him like she needed to. I don't feel like it was very
like she was pumping up her chest on social media saying that she gave it to him. Because if you remember, leading up to it, she says, "Oh, I spill it all."
She said, "We'll get to that.
Certain people, we will get to that." And all she said was, "I didn't like that y'all laughed at my life." Like, girl, come on, bitch. My God, I thought you laid into fucking Kyle. The whole reason I tuned in tonight because I wanted you to drag her.
But hold up, but Dorit and Kyle just started to, well, honestly, no, we didn't mean it like that. I felt so bad afterwards, and I'm just like,
Mauricio did it.
Mauricio, y'all laughed, y'all loved that moment. Y'all know
Dorit was falling out.
Dorit was falling.
Dorit almost busted her Botox. Like her forehead was
raveling, and she was her neck.
It was as tight as a brand new leather purse, an Hermes bag that Crystal got.
Who?
Tight leather. Dorit's face, it was just stretched so tight.
Now, as far as this is a bigger concern too, because what Erika was trying to say was they should have not been concerned about getting legally involved because they know the truth. But if you go back and watch the show, she was giving it to them in pieces. She was lying about certain things. So I don't understand what goes in her mind when she says they knew the truth. The truth to what? You know what I'm saying? Like the truth.
Her version of it.
I mean, I don't know. But basically, I like that Garcelle was like, well, do you really think we should have been concerned? And she's like, why would y'all be concerned? You're not involved. Like, we are involved. We're on the show with your ass. I mean, come on now. We're on the show. And we're filming with you and things like that. They're wanting the footage from the show. So it's a possibility. Not saying, I mean, more than likely they'll be fine. But it was always a valid point, I feel. Some people try to say that Sutton was making it more about her. Honestly, I don't think she was. I think, reputation is everything, and your name and all that. Garcelle has a whole real job. She have
kids.
And kids.
So kids. They have kids.
Yeah.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
it's and then we talked a little bit about this at the beginning. The whole reason Sutton wasn't able to be a full-time housewife last year is because her husband wouldn't allow her to film with the kids, and that was a last-minute decision.
Yeah,
Apparently, their divorce was contentious and custody and stuff like that. So, of course, if one of your coworkers on a nationally syndicated TV show is accused of fraud and by the millions, your first thought is if my ex-husband is already dangling custody and shit above my head and not allowing me to be a part of something, I don't want to give him more ammunition
yeah,
to fuck me over. And I
yeah,
mean, and Erika, the thing that's bothered me is even after an entire 22 episodes of seeing the blogs, seeing Twitter react to being on the side of these women who are genuinely concerned about them, she hasn't acknowledged for a second that I can see where y'all are coming from. It
yeah.
hurt me
That's
in the
what
moment,
I was gonna say.
but I
Like
can see
that was what I was gonna say.
nothing.
Like it's like she's not getting it. She's not even trying
What's
to
not
see
clicking?
the other side of okay. They, you know, what I'm saying like it. Like they said, I like that they were like Andy said. You're acting like you're a victim. Like you have made yourself a victim, as if they are coming for you, as if they have a right to come for you. And you know, if you like this whole conversation, basically, if you had have said something about the victims, if you had have made a statement, if maybe you maybe moved a little different about posting, your what is it, the baboon coochie or whatever it was, like maybe things would look better for you, but it doesn't look good for you because you have not shown any compassion. You are thinking completely like, oh my God, like I said last week, I'm still 50. I have more life to live. If you're not truly in trouble, why are you acting as such? You look guilty.
Exactly. And I get it. She's stressed out. Like, I understand. Like, your ex husband is accused of defrauding millions of dollars. I understand that you would probably be a little upset. But at the same time, none of the questions Sutton asked or any of the wives asked ever accused her of actually being implicated in the fraud. The
Yeah.
only thing Sutton said was, your stories don't match up, and I'm concerned. She's acting as if Sutton's going around saying, I know for a fact Erika stole money. I saw her sign documents and she cashed a cashier's check and went and bought a house. Like, she really is, at the very least, a little bit of pushback, acting as if everybody is out to pin her for a crime that she didn't commit. Like, I don't understand this. And that makes her look guiltier than just saying, y'all, I can't talk about this.
Right.
All
No,
of
I
this
agree.
hooting and hollering you're doing is making you look guiltier than saying, please, can we not talk about this right now?
Yeah, and it's
Like,
like you said, like no, even in the reunion, like everyone did say that they don't feel like she's involved.
even Sutton.
So
Sutton was like, I
even
think so.
sudden, so Garcelle did say, I think that she was living a very nice life and
And
kind of
we've
turned
said
her
that.
head to it, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
valid point. But was she involved? Was she defrauding? Was she defrauding the victims herself? No, and I think that if by hearing that. I mean, I know she's under fire. She's probably on the defense. But by hearing that, a part of me would kind of dial back and be like, "Oh, okay, like that's a chip. That's something off my shoulder, a big old brick off my shoulder." Because at this point, then they don't think I'm guilty. They just may think my lies are not adding up. That's what it was. The lies were just not adding up.
I'm not
And I
guilty,
think
but I'm still a
she
liar.
thought that she was so like stuck on them thinking that she was guilty in the defrauding, when really they were just questioning her lies
Mm-hmm.
about the other stuff that had nothing to do with the case.
Which she told more lies. When Andy said he was unconscious for 12 hours, 9. Bitch, you've told this story 4 times at this point, and every time it was a different hour. What is going on?
Yeah.
Like, she really is her own worst enemy at all.
Yeah.
Andy gave her so many bones to try to like take and redeem herself. And I can't tell if she's just a full-fledged like sociopathic liar or if she's a narcissist. Maybe a little bit of both.
Both.
But reality is not clicking.
No,
And
it's
she
not.
is more concerned with her image than keeping her ass out of jail. Like, girl, fuck the image. You can rebuild. You're still going to have a check. Andy will make sure of that. Like,
This is a good point
my
right here
God.
from Saz K. Saz K, I saw you in it. You know, Saz K is very anti-Garcelle. I saw her saying like
She
Saz
was
K
reading
said
Garcelle 2 episodes ago.
She said her 8-year-old daughter is a better liar than Erika. But the comment here is very valid. Like she talked about the ads and stuff like that, but none of those posts actually said like in support of an ad or anything like that. So it's just like you were doing that. She know damn well she was posting those to show that I ain't got shit to worry about. Like
I'm
I'm
unbothered.
Erika Jane. It was the ego. They had nothing to do with no ads, no money.
And then
She
stand
didn't
in
make
that.
no money from those. What was she selling?
I,
Coochie?
I didn't
What
see no
was it?
hashtags.
I don't
I
know.
didn't see no nothing. And from the Kardashians and the brand ambassadors, we know there's about 30 hashtags associated with the paid ad. Like I saw absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you have to wonder, like, at what point maybe she's lied so much that she actually believes the shit that's coming out of her mouth. Because at what point did reality completely escape? And at what point are the lies like your truth at this point?
Yeah.
Because we can't keep track of this. I don't know.
I have a question. So I mean, just basically, like, do you think that she should have made some kind of statement to the victims? Anything? Because to me, it comes down to having a bad publicist, a bad team. Because someone on her team should have been like, you know what, someone should have helped her take a different approach. I know she has one. She got a team for everything else that she does. So I know someone could have been like, you should at least make. She ain't said nothing. And like, just like, what's your thoughts on it? Do you think she should have made some kind of statement to the victims? Would it have helped her, or like?
I mean, statements are always nice, but there could be, you know, official statements. You know, she hasn't done any interviews. She hasn't done anything. So there is, you know, perhaps her attorneys are telling her we're not commenting on anything. But at the very least, when it's getting brought up multiple times in a show,
yeah,
the bare minimum you can do is you don't like, I understand everything that's going on and it breaks my heart to find out what's going on. And believe me, I want to find out what the fuck happened as much as these people do. But there are things I can talk about and things I can't. And I'm stuck in this place where, what the fuck do I do? There was no, I don't even think she said the word victims, alleged, like nothing until the reunion. 22 episodes.
Alleged, it's always victims, alleged victims, whatever order she put it in.
There was no compassion to a woman who has to take care of her son who almost died. There's no compassion to a woman who lost her fiance who died, a man who was left orphaned when his mom and brother died. Not even a morsel of sympathy. Like tears for herself. Oh, she shed plenty of tears for herself and that Tom lied to her, but none for the people who were counting on that money to make sure their relatives got the care that they needed for the rest of their lives now that they're severely disfigured and burned and paralyzed. Like nothing. Like, girl, my fucking God. I'm sorry you can't.
Whoa.
My God. I'm just, the more I talk about it, the more annoyed I get because it's like, do you know, like we all have that one friend who like borrows money and then is going on trips and still living lavishly knowing that they owe us $100.
That's Erika.
That's Erika. Erika's the friend that owe you $100 and she don't give a fuck. Doesn't even acknowledge that she owes you $100. Like,
do you see there's a comment from Maradona's Erika would have been better off just pulling a Teresa and said she can't talk about it. So he actually did mention in this episode about the difference between her situation and the situation with Teresa. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. IRS versus actual victims. Honestly, the IRS, they kind of deserve it because they be taking too much out of my check all the time. But I mean, right.
That did fraudulent PPP loans. I don't want to hear you talking about Teresa defrauding the IRS.
Right. Okay,
we're not going about that.
Between the IRS and Sally Mae, look, they both can go on my head. But as far as like, I'm glad that he brought that up because people, they like to compare these cases and stuff like that. Like, no, sis. And then honestly, Erika is less guilty right now than Teresa. But as the way she has lied, she looks just as guilty. But it's just
Teresa just admitted she was dumb.
Yeah.
She said, no, I'm stupid, bitch. My bad. Yeah. I'm dumb as fuck.
Yeah. Right. And then there's a comment here. So everybody lied on Tom. No, child. Tom.
Right. And I find that very hard to believe when Andy was like, you never heard rumblings that Tom was in financial trouble. First it was no. Then it was, well, I told you I did hear rumblings about that one lawsuit. Child, he been having 20 plus years of people saying he in financial trouble. You mean you ain't heard nothing, now you're deaf? To everybody in LA? All of your friends heard shit. I don't believe it. Everybody's lying on Tom. Tom was a good man, Savannah.
Crystal did say, and so she was like, I would be mad at Tom. Like, why are you not mad at him? And it's just like, child. She said she talked to him like 5 times a day or something like that.
I think in the previous she said he called me, and that was a question. So I'm like, we know that Alzheimer's, typically you don't remember a lot of what is like most recent, right? And she even said last episode, Tom only remembers old stories and stuff that he tells. My grandfather, when he passed away, was dealing with dementia and didn't know his own daughters that were taking care of him. Forgot his own daughters. So you mean to tell me a man who has dementia and Alzheimer's still finds time to call you 5 times every single day and is completely lucid and remembers you? Because all season she was saying that Tom was calling her every day. Yeah. So he has dementia and is in a home, but he remembers to call a wife that left him, that he's stuck with $25 million worth of debt. Like,
you know, on housewife culture right now, it's a lot of situations with dementia right now. You got people insulting it over there on Potomac, and you got Beverly Hills over here. I mean,
people have had dementia that have never had dementia before.
If Crystal was going to come at Erika, it should have been about dementia. The fact that she has dealt with you notice they did keep flashing the camera on her last week.
They were waiting for her,
but she is in a situation where I feel like she feels like she ain't gonna say too much because she still wants to be with that inner circle. It's unfortunate, but that's a very serious topic. It makes you look at Crystal like, girl, like step up, pipe up a little bit when it comes, because that's a very sensitive subject, in my opinion.
Well, and you know, also hearing Crystal this episode talk about the onslaught of racism she's experienced in social media and DMs and stuff like that from the moment it was announced she was going to be on. I have to have a little bit of sympathy for her and how much that plays into how she engages throughout the system, particularly with women who have been on the show for years. How much she inserts an opinion, how much she really allows herself to say her piece out of fear of like, and I'm sure Tiffany, her and Tiffany from Dallas are really, really good friends. And I'm sure, I mean, we all know Tiffany experienced that from the fans.
Yeah.
I have to Tiffany probably said like, girl, I'm warning you ahead of time. This is what you're going to fucking deal with. So I'm not saying that that's what happened, but like hearing her story, I would think if I was getting assaulted every single day in my inbox from racism, I would have to be like, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut over here because this check is cute and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Like, I'm not trying to get assaulted again. I don't know.
Well, I'm glad that she has representation. I think she started out pretty strong. You know what I'm saying? In the way that she came at Sutton, it at that time, it felt like it was, you know what I'm saying, she was an ally to us. But as time went on, when it got really hot in the kitchen with the Garcelle situation and the whole dementia thing, I feel like Crystal is just weak. And so, but if she comes back next season, sure, we'll see. But she does need to speak up more.
Particularly about stuff that she's an expert in. Like, if there ever was a time for you to open your mouth, dementia you were the one who most recently has dealt with this. You took care of your father.
So
this is your area of expertise.
I wouldn't sit here and let somebody insult what I just experienced firsthand, you know what I'm saying, by lying. I would have to try, you see some tears, you see some emotion, you see something, and nothing is coming out of her. She's sitting over there just stuck.
So I don't know. I still like Crystal. She clicked down a little bit for me, but I think a lot of it, you know, maybe her personality is such that being in a fishbowl like this with women who are screaming at each other ain't necessarily her cup of tea. Maybe she had to find her footing. Not everybody can be a Sutton and come right in and call Teddy boring and call people's outfits ugly and like come out guns blazing.
Crystal came in good. She just kind of became less memorable as the time went on. Yeah. She came in, I thought like, okay, let me see what she's talking about. But then we just got that. Let me see right here. Crystal's very weak. Sorry, Miss Judge. Yes, she's very weak. I'm sorry, Crystal. But Crystal girl, you cool. Come back one more season. I do feel like when they come in the first season, they do need a second season. I almost don't want that to happen for Mia on Potomac, but I do.
You are not here for Mia
to redeem herself, because I was a fan of Wendy last season, and people weren't. And Wendy came in, and she's sitting next to Anthony this season, so you just never know.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
This has been episodes reading here. I agree. Okay, so the first person to call in is one of our faves, Dementia. Hey, Dementia, welcome back to the link. How you doing?
It's your birthday. It's your birthday today, ain't it?
It was yesterday, but it's all month and then Scorpio season.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Shut it down.
Y'all know how. Y'all know.
Don't listen to
y'all know how. Erika think this is Days of Our Lives of Bold and Beautiful. I keep saying this, like it's like every week. It's like, okay, so we change your last name to Erika Forrester because I love
Erika
Bold.
Kane.
So yeah, exactly. So it's just like, girl, it's just like Aretha Franklin said, lies and more lies and lies on top of lies. It's just like, girl, just at this point, I'm just sick of it. I just want it to be over with. Let's move on to next season. Because, I mean, it's kind of like the reunion. It didn't even need to be 4 parts. Could have been 3 and been done. Like, it ain't like
could have
we
been
really
2. It could have been 2.
We
I'm
ain't
sorry. It could have been 2.
talked about shit. We ain't really discussed nothing but Erika. Like, we ain't even talk about Kyle and Dorit. They had a little moment. We ain't talked about Crystal and Sutton, really. Like, we ain't really talked about nothing that was, because nobody cares. Erika, you lied. You got caught up. End of discussion. I don't think she was involved in it, but I think she knew he was a crook. And I think she did turn her eye to it. And then she just got caught up, and now she has to backpedal, act like Eva. Pull a Eva and backpedal out of it. But I mean, it's really nothing for us to keep discussing here. Like, she lying, she still lying, she ain't gonna never tell the truth. That's really there. But I did want to say I have kind of been rewatching the season a little bit, and I kind of have took a different turn when it comes to the Lisa and Garcelle thing, because besides her getting on her about Denise, which I think she fully deserved that because they did treat Denise horribly, and I love Denise. But I mean, I kind of agree with Lisa Rinna. Like, I mean, it's not like nobody was ganging up on her. It was really only Dorit coming for Garcelle. Really, I mean, Kyle would chime in, but just coming at her, it was really only Dorit. And I agree with Lisa Rinna. Like, you can take Dorit, girl. You can take Dorit. You don't need no help with that. You can take Dorit. Like, you can. Let's be for real. Like, you can take Dorit. You don't need Lisa Rinna to come in and defend you when Dorit coming for you. Girl, handle her and go on about your day. Now, if they was ganging up on, then that would be understandable why she would want Lisa Rinna to come in and defend her. But nobody was really just. It's not like they didn't do Garcelle how they did Denise. Now, if it was that type of situation, then I would be like, okay, like, I agree, Lisa Rinna, you need to do something. But I mean, nobody was really coming for you but Dorit. And like I said, I agree with Lisa Rinna. You can take Dorit, girl. You can take her. Like, it's Dorit to nobody. I'm sorry, Cortez. I see.
No. I agree. No. I said that. I said, like, I didn't understand. Like, it's Dorit. That's what I'm saying. Like, even with the disrespect, there's no way that I would have allowed Dorit to talk to me any kind of way. Like, it's Dorit, and I've been saying that for the longest. That's why I understand where Sass K be coming from. Meanwhile, her coming right here says, I can take Dorit while drinking in a snowstorm, eating a sandwich. Listen,
come on, multitask.
I'm just saying. No shade. No shade. And shout out to Star Fun Crafter for the super chat coming up in here. I don't know if it's missed the comment earlier, but it says
he had a good comment.
He said, I believe she played her position and stayed in it. She's very phony for proclaiming to be a boss throughout the past season.
He's talking about Erika Jane.
Yeah, I think it's about Erika. She's not a boss. I think that was revealed that Erika, this ice queen and this cold-hearted woman, that's it. She's cold. Oh, she cold, baby.
Oh, she cold.
Them victims is still unpaid, and she don't care really.
And shivering.
I wanted to also say this. You can clearly tell that they all just came at Sutton because Sutton is not a confrontational person. Because it came at Crystal, and we didn't see you're inappropriate, awkward. Where was all of that, girl? Why do you want to call Erika inappropriate and awkward? And
she didn't have that energy with Erika.
She did.
Where was it at? But
maybe next season. Maybe next season. Because Crystal said she's coming back and she's ready. I mean, she did say that.
I think she knows. Crystal knows what to expect, and given like outside of that, she has been hanging out with Dorit and Sutton a lot more, and have gotten really close with them. I would like to see some not necessarily an alliance as far as Mean Girl, but I want her to really take a step back and see, because that little awkward exchange where Lisa Rinna was like, "Crystal's like my little sister." I'm like, bitch, I didn't see a single scene with the two of you.
They had a lot of scenes together. They did. Demetria, I'm gonna let you go, okay? They did have a lot of scenes to go. On the thing, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for calling it, Demetria.
Bye, Demetria.
He was like, I got something to say. All right, next person we have Maradonas. Now, last week
Hey,
you called
welcome.
in and you got off. Welcome to the league.
Yeah, sorry. I got a important call, so I had to cut off.
It's
Yeah,
welcome to the
so
league.
it's nice being on show. Okay, I know I'm going to talk about Garcelle's situation. I was one of those people who had the fact that she wasn't more outspoken in her, the interactions or when they're coming at, well, particularly Dorit coming at her. But w- after watching Potomac, I do understand where Garcelle is coming from to an extent. What Jamie said last week, where she probably figures that Bravo isn't the place to have this discussion, especially around these white women. Whereas in Potomac, we've seen Wendy has never, with Giselle and Robin, she's never ever spoken loud, cursed at them, yet she's labeled angry and aggressive. And we've seen the comments that go at Wendy. What happens if Garcelle says the same thing to these white women? It is even worse. And she has more to lose and I think you guys mentioned it earlier, that she's in the business. She's actually active versus some of these other people. Like Kyle got her one or two scenes in Halloween. So it it so it does play out differently in amongst this cast of women, because she will have a worse effect in her business. So I do get where she's coming from, and she's also foreign. She's a foreigner, and even I have family members who are foreigners who came to the United States. Even 4 generations in, we are basically taught to kind of keep our heads down. Even when people are being aggressive to us, we try not to be confrontational, because we're always going to be labeled that, and especially being black, we're going to be labeled like that. So I do kind of get it. I do wish she would find a way to work around it, but I do get where she's actually coming from in that sense. Yeah, but that's basically it. And with Erika, uh, Erica just needs to be quiet, because every day she's coming up with a different excuse, a different story, and right now I've lost track of how many times was her son vehicle rolled over? 5 times, 6 times?
Oh, you
It's
was
still
Because
rolling.
yeah, it's still
It's still
rolling.
rolling.
Because and
It's still rolling.
first it's hail, then it's snow. I mean, come on, make up your mind. It's 5 times.
Stick with
Five
one
times.
lie.
Yeah,
I
stick
think
with
it
one
was
line.
actually
Or
5, but we played a game like 2 weeks ago in the first part, and one of the answers was he's still rolling.
yeah, what?
People were
The
saying,
car's still
Yeah.
going.
So
It's
Erica,
dizzy.
and I think with her is that I think Erica thinks she's smarter than everybody else. So
Mm.
she just feel like
Mm-hmm.
she can actually fool the members of the cast. Well, clearly she can fool some of them, because obviously
Mhm.
Kyle and Dorit and Lisa. But yeah, the fans are clearly aware that, okay, your stories don't make any sense. And it's not that I would understand. There are some things, being married, you're not going to know about your spouse.
Oh
I
yeah.
I think that maybe she suspected and she turned a blind eye. And that is still, you're still culpable in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it for me.
Okay.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
calling in,
you. Thank you
Okay.
for
Maradona.
calling in.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
I did want to say something really quickly before I bring the next caller in. I think Chad said on Facebook that, and then someone else said it in the comments too last week, that the relation. I think it was Stefan. It was Stefan actually, and Chad basically said that he does believe that they have a very traditional old school relationship. So that just goes to show that what she's saying is some things I think are true. Like with him having that money and stuff like that, sure. But the whole never had a bank account, I don't have that. The lie. I mean,
She's adding
it's
too
true.
much to it.
It's so much
You,
sprinkles and ornaments on it. It just becomes very fake at that point, to where
yeah,
you can't even listen to the truth anymore. But let me bring in my next
yeah.
caller, and that is going to be Megan. Hey, Megan,
Hey,
welcome back to
Megan.
the league.
Hey guys.
How are you?
I'm good. Oh my goodness. So first actually question. I don't know if you guys saw this was going around last week with the second reunion, but someone they basically cut together like all of Erica's lies, basically, just with the Cliff story, like all of the versions of that story. Did you guys happen to see that video?
I haven't seen that.
So is it on YouTube?
It's, you know what? It's on
Or is it a
Twitter.
TikTok?
Okay.
I saw it on Twitter. I can send it to y'all afterwards. But basically,
Leave it in the comments. That would be
Yeah, put it in
great.
the comments. 'Cause there's a video on YouTube that when I made that game up 2 weeks ago, I watched it because I couldn't remember all the lines myself. But yeah, just leave the comment in the leave the link in the comments for us to see.
I was just watching it actually before the show aired, and I was just like, it's actually really crazy how many. There's 5 versions. There's 5 versions of this story. First, she, like, when it first happened, she was with whatever his name is from the Glam Squad, and she said that they had come back from Tokyo, and that's when she said, I got the call that he was in an accident. And he was like, oh my God, like that's when we were coming back from Tokyo. And she's like, I know. So I'm like, all right, so that's the first lie. Someone called you. The second time, I forgot what that one was. It was a lie. The second one was, she said that her son helped her find him. So that was like, I think the third one. She was just like, well, my son helped me find him. And then the fourth one was she found him, right? Yeah. And then I think the fifth one was, I forgot. It was a lie. But I'm just
the second one was he had been missing for 12 hours, and that's when she went to go look for him. And
I didn't know about the my son.
And I'm gonna have to go back and watch this whole season
new to
again
me.
because I
don't
forgot
recall
about that.
I think it's like
we've been recapping the whole season.
It's like in the third or the fourth one, she was just like, and anyways, my son helped me find him. And I was just like, okay. And then in the very next one, she was just like, I found him. I'm just like, okay. So you're okay. Listen, at the end of the day, what's funny about this is that none of this, all this evidence proves is that she's a liar. So like, even like, let's say they can take this to court. This is not like that damning to where it's like, all right, we're sending you to jail, but it proves that you're a liar. And I feel like Erika's thing coming into this season was like, I'm going to overcompensate. Like, I'm just going to tell as many things as I can so I don't look like I'm lying, but people aren't dumb. And listen, I hate that Erika plays dumb and stupid at the same. She plays dumb and smart at the same time. Like you can't be both. It's either you were like this boss who knew everything, you're on top of your stuff, no one's gonna play you, or you're this victim wife, blah 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 blah. And it's just like the fact that she couldn't understand, like when Sutton was just like, you were making yourself out to be a victim, and she was just like, I couldn't be her. I couldn't be. So it's like, girl, that's obviously you can, but like. People died. Like, no, you can't look this way. You can't look like this on national TV. So I'm so over her. But the last thing I'll say is that surprisingly, the biggest lie of tonight wasn't anything that came out of Erika's mouth. It is what Dorit said when she said that she pays for all of her clothes. Now, Dorit,
oh yes.
Dorit,
come on.
Doritos.
Come on, Dorit, really? She said, I pay for everything. That. And if you notice, Andy asked, he's like, you do? And she's like, yes, everything. That is come on. You are not the head to toe Louis Vuitton's like priced at like $17,000. Like you're paying.
They don't get her. They don't get her.
Exactly. Exactly. And she better listen. All of these ladies better walk a straight line, because once one person, like when one person money troubles, like that is contagious. Like you don't want to be telling people on national TV what you're paying for, and then you have some IRS in your business. So that's all I'll say. But I was like, Dorit, you better stop lying. Stop lying about those fashions. She is also not the best dressed. Garcelle, stop it. She's not the best dressed. Whatever she is picking out, it's like head to toe garbage. And also get those slick down baby hairs out of her. Anyway,
what's with the baby hairs? I thought I was the only one that noticed that. I was like, hold on a second.
I turned the blind eye to it like Erika does. I'm like,
Listen, Dorit's alter ego is like a 25-year-old Black woman. So like, that's probably why she feels so comfortable like screaming at Garcelle, because she's just like, I'm the spicy one in this group. I'm from Morocco. Oh, God. So
I'm from Morocco.
That's all I had to say. See y'all next week.
Please
for calling in,
post that
Megan.
video. Put that video in the
Yes.
comments.
Yes,
the
I will.
link, so the video, well, I believe that Sass K she said watch Introvert Queen on YouTube. She breaks it all the way down. Is that the same? Is that
I
the
think
YouTube
that
channel?
might be it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
that may
Thanks,
be
Sass, and thanks,
and I'll
Megan.
check it out too.
No
I
problem,
do
guys.
have a
Bye.
question.
And-
well, go ahead.
Oh, Sass made a comment that she said Louis Vuitton has banned Dorit for all her wear and return.
Yes,
You're
child.
lying. You are lying.
Ooh,
I feel like Sass K worked for
Getting
Bravo, honey. I
okay,
don't know.
Sass.
She
Sass
giving
K
us
is
some
Lisa
stuff that
Vanderpump.
I ain't never heard before, and I
Sass
believe
K
it.
is Lisa Vanderpump.
Oh,
she
no.
is planning
Sass K, Lisa
stories.
Vanderpump.
She Lisa Vanderpump because
Now,
the way
I
she has
believe that.
stories.
I believe that
I
one.
believe the wear and return. What did Marlo say? Everybody knows you return things to Neiman's.
Okay,
That's
Not
very
thinking
Dorit.
Marlo. Thank you, Megan. Okay,
Bye.
Bye, Megan.
have a good one.
Not Marlo. Speaking of
Before I
frauds.
bring the last caller in, I wanted to ask a question. We talked about all the lies, and there's so many. What is everyone's favorite lie? What's everyone
so
in the
messy.
comments? And you, Jamie, what is your favorite lie
Oh,
that
God.
she told? Just one. Mine, while y'all think, is the one about the ankle, like not doing the ankle surgery because I can't even think of the reason why, but not doing the ankle surgery.
My favorite lie is to piggyback off that, but when last episode of the reunion, when she expounded and said she texted her friend who is a doctor, and the
showed
doctor
the
said,
picture.
no,
The said, no,
wait,
baby, that picture look good, baby.
wait till Wednesday and come see me. Like,
Yes, honey, that picture. Okay, the last caller who we have is M. Hey, M, welcome
Hey,
back to
M.
the lean.
Hi, happy birthday.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
My favorite lie is anytime Erika pretends to be a medical profession.
Okay, so basically, it seems like everybody
TBIs.
is like, that was
TBIs.
the lie.
Anytime
The
she's a
lie.
That was
doctor
it.
or a weather woman, like that's my
Not a
favorite
weather
lie.
woman.
Oh.
Look,
yeah.
I know global warming is real, but it ain't gonna snow in fucking Pasadena, Erika Jane.
I know. I was like, no, the Pasadena one is probably it's like neck and neck. The one where
That one made me mad, actually, because I live 20 minutes from past this. I'm like, that is just stupid. But it was revealed that it was hell. So maybe she doesn't know what hell versus snow is, but
People in California don't know.
right.
well, people in Georgia do, but okay. So for me personally, I was gonna talk like I of course, like always, everyone's disappointed with Garcelle for not like, getting it together and not correcting these women. But at the same time, you cannot expect her to talk. She does not feel safe in this environment. It's not a safe space for her to talk. And also, you can just see at parts I was watching her, she looked like she had this glazed look, like she wasn't even present.
Yeah.
She just looked like she wasn't there. She was in her happy place, and she's like, "I'm not coming out." Sometimes she would, but like 90% of the time, she was like, "I'm here in a safe, happy place, and I'm not coming out." And I get it. It's like a defense. Like we've all been there as color people, just like in a room trying to like defend an argument, but like giving up and just being like, I'm tired, I don't care. We all do it, and I think it is sad. As for Crystal, obviously very upset about all the racial DMs that she's dealing with. That's not fair, and that's not nice to be judged on your race. There's a lot of fair criticism for Crystal that they didn't have to go for race.
Yeah. She has so many things you could pick from.
So many things.
Things.
She's a flawed human, and I think she's made a lot of first year mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could have went after all that. Like that would have been, if they would have came after the fact that she didn't speak up for Garcelle as another fellow colored woman, the fact that like she herself had confessionals where she was talking smack about Erika, but to her face she was like defending Erika almost, this devil advocate bullcrap. Like there are things people could have gone for, like the things they've accused Sutton for, like saying things behind Erika's back and not saying to her face, which they're all guilty of, honestly, except for probably Sutton and Garcelle. They're the only ones that's ever made any form of comment. Even Dorit has made more criticism than Crystal, but Crystal, I would say her confessionals were a little stronger. You know what I mean? In the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was unfair and uncalled for. Another thing is, I'm so glad finally somebody called out Kathy. She did make that comment about not seeing color. It was clear. She said it with her chest up.
She
too.
did, and they braced right over.
Yeah, she wasn't
They
like
did.
she wasn't like Sutton, who just blurted out of like frustration. She like said it with a very calm, serious face. And the whole idea, like, just because you have, and she mentioned the fact that Michael was her best friend. I'm like, congratulations, you have a black friend, you know? Like, how does this doesn't, we've already gone through it. This argument doesn't stop you from being a racist. Even a racist person can find one black person they like. It's not like, it's not it's not impossible. So that idea is bull crap. Also, I will say that Erika does have a problem. She defends herself too much to the point of like, it's like, you know, when you back yourself so much that you don't even care that you're wrong. You just want to be proven right to yourself and just stick to your own arguments. So I think one of the things is the ladies, by her going like, I didn't like what you guys said and you were making fun of my life. And they were all like, we're sorry. They could have just been like, listen, we had conversations with our husbands. Our husbands pointed out like key important things. Because sometimes when you talk to your friends versus when you talk to like your other friends not close to them or even your spouse, they'll point out things like, you might want to recheck your friend's story, you know?
Yeah.
We've all had that.
Because they're separate from the situation. They're like fresh eyes.
Exactly. So I think they could have just been like, listen, we said stories that you told us. It's not like we made up these stories.
Yep.
We repeated what you said. I think even Sutton and Kyle were making sure that the details were correct, you know? Because they were like, oh, this is, I heard 4, I heard 5. But like they were trying to keep it. And then their husbands were like, this is ridiculous. I know she's your friend and you want to stand up for her, but this makes no logical sense. So like she could have been like, yeah, our husbands, like us, they pointed out some errors in your story. And now we were like, okay, you're right. We sound crazy for thinking these things. Because this is like almost impossible, some of the things she's saying. Yeah. And so I do like that Sutton is trying to say that these things you are doing, like her reputation is important. She is from Georgia and she is like part of these, like she's Southern, she's very conservative, and she's part of these organizations that are like really like impressive, important organizations, and she needs to keep her reputation perfect, you know. And I'm not gonna lie, all you have in the end of the day is your name and your character, and once that gets trashed, it's very difficult to rebuild that up. And so yes, Sutton had the right to be like, listen, I'm protecting my livelihood, my custodies of my children, my businesses, my charity work, my friendship with prestigious people, and you have the right to do that. And I think, but she also was trying to be sensitive to Erika because the two of them have the closest in background, like the way they grew their upbringing, very similar. They both grew up with a mother who's withdrawn and critical and very cold to them. They both didn't have a father figure growing up. Like Sutton lost hers, unfortunately, to suicide. But like she does sympathize growing up with just that mother who's ultra critical and never shows any kind of love, approval, or any like warmth. And so Sutton, you could see throughout the season, she's been trying to give her grace. And I think it's just too, she's just too in herself. Like she's not, I don't want to call her a narcissist. That's a medical diagnosis. So I'm not going to.
If she can be a doctor, so
No,
can
Emmy's
we.
saying that she's not trying to be a doctor. So let's
If she can be a doctor, so can we. She's a narcissist.
You said it.
You're gonna
my
get a
medical
lawsuit.
that's
You'll
my
get a
medical
lawsuit.
profession.
Jamie will have a lawsuit at the end of this season.
No, but
Look,
also
at this point, Erika and I have the same amount of money in the bank. We're good.
Yeah, but also you have to like, if she is truly a narcissist and that's something that she needs to go and get help for. If not, then she has a lot of things she needs to go help for. A lot of it is probably just childhood trauma and having to like, sometimes like I've known people like her who really will not admit that they're wrong, to say sorry, will lie, cheat, and steal to like protect themselves because in the end they feel like no one will have their back. And I think that's why she went after Sutton so hard, because she's like, no, I'm going to cut this down before anyone else gets any ideas. And I think those her 3 so-called friends, I think they are complete trash. And I want to say something. Even if Sutton talked to her on her own before she talked to these women, Erika still would have not been receptive. So it doesn't matter, because Erika in her mind she doesn't care. She lies. And also, like, yes, she was doing all that Instagram stuff just to basically rub it in people's noses. She was trolling trolls, but I think at this point she was trolling everybody, because there were people who had like real concerns, who were like, hey, you know what? Why don't you stop spending these people's money and please repay it back? Because whether you like it or not, Erika's not stupid. Like, she can play the dummy she likes, but all day. But in the end of the day, she's clearly smart enough to know that this is what she's been around enough lawyers to know what lawyers make. She had to have known. There's no way, because even Kyle was like, I never knew lawyers got paid that much, like, you know. And so Sutton had to have known, and I think she didn't know how he's getting the money, but you had to have known it wasn't legally obtained, you know. How do you afford $40,000? She's not even the richest woman there. How is she getting $40,000 glam? She's not. At least she was there the same time as Yolanda Hadid, and she was there the same time as Lisa Vanderpump. Like, those 2 women, there was several millions, tens of millions, you know. And also, like, Lisa Vanderpump actually, I think she said in one of the seasons past, she's like, oh, 40,000, I don't spend that much money. And she's like, she called it ridiculous spending that much money on glam a month, you know. She's like, it's financially stupid. And I think Lisa, who could have afforded 40,000 a month, and saying that should have been a ding ding for all of us, you know. It should have.
It was obviously Lisa didn't spend that money on glam. It was very obvious.
No. Lisa, let me be honest. Lisa, I will say this, is a natural. Bangs. No, I think Lisa, she's had some kind of procedures done. We're not going to pretend she hasn't.
Some.
But I think, no, not as much as Kyle. Kyle gets a new nose every 2 years. It's insane. She gets a new. Kyle looks younger now than she did 7 years ago. That's impossible.
Yeah, she really does. She looked a mess.
Yeah, Lisa.
Jamie, did you just compliment Kyle?
No. I said, if you want to know how old she is, look at the neck.
That's not what you said. Are you lying?
She looks good now. She looks good now. The neck is still 2013.
No.
The face is Halloween 2021. The neck is Halloween 1967. I gotta let you go,
okay? You want to go to lean out.
Stop it, Jamie.
Bye.
Right. Stop it. Thank you, M.
I will never see it for Kyle.
We were about to lean out, but there's one thing I wanted, 2 things actually. First, don't forget to like this video. I didn't say it earlier. I know I'm being all in the mixed child, but don't forget to like this video. We appreciate all the support. Like I said, this particular franchise has really grown the platform a lot. And it's always great to see everyone in the comments. I see Sass K is going in the comments.
Okay.
I was listening to M, but I'm just looking at Sass K and Maradona as they're going back and forth talking about Erika's nose is in the car, is in the cliff with Tom's car. I'm like, Lord, Jamie, Maradona says Jamie is so horrible to Kyle. Isn't he?
Thank you. Horrible. That's the nicest thing anybody said to me.
But you did just compliment her. You said that she looks.
I said she looks good now. She's had good work. She's had amazing
That's the compliment.
Work.
That's the nice thing.
She's gotten her money's worth. And I hope when I get my nose job next year, I look just like her.
Well,
not just like her, because
I hope you get that nose job too.
Oh, bitch, fuck you.
And then the last thing that I wanted to say was that, did y'all catch the moment where Erika said that she left Palm Springs because of Garcelle?
Yeah.
She said that,
but now she's a.
Huh? Go ahead.
But she was saying, "Oh, I will never leave because of an article. I don't back down for an article." I'm like, "But you'll back down because Garcelle said Tom called
situation, you?" I don't understand. Why would she have? Like, why would they have made her leave? I mean, especially because Garcelle apologized. I get that it happened. She apologized.
And she accepted the apology.
Like, no, she heard about the article because she went to the back.
Absolutely.
She cried. She broke down. The shit was starting to hit the fan. Just saw.
Yeah.
That's just that on that. So with that being said, again, don't forget to like this video. We appreciate all the support. We have one more reunion next week, which is reunion, well, part of the reunion next week. And I'm kind of sad because, you know, Wednesdays is like our day. I mean, of course, Salt Lake City is happening. Salt Lake City has been very boring.
It's getting better now. It
is getting better.
Finally.
And Potomac is ending. This is Potomac's finale is Sunday.
Already.
So for those that watch those, of course, we'll still be there for those. And like I said, y'all make sure you have a good rest of y'all Wednesday night. Thank y'all for all the happy birthday wishes. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you all, everyone in the comments, all the callers, Amicio, M, Megan, Maradonas, and let me somebody. I saw Kyra, but Kyra said, "Girl, the lines are long. I gotta go." So she. But if I didn't get you, thank you.
You gotta get in early. The line starts early.
The line starts early. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good rest of y'all Wednesday night, and we will see y'all next week for part 4.
Final. The final thing. I'm exhausted.
And I know we didn't do Salt Lake City or Potomac this past week. We'll just double up next week, child, and talk about the hot spots.
Potomac wasn't that great. I mean, you can put them all together.
Maybe we may just do that. Good night. Like the video.